Good evening, everyone. I am Nitish Sharma on the behalf of EduBridge IAS, and we are doing our Indian Polity and Governance series. This is the fourth lecture in the Fundamental Rights. Now, we have previously done our Fundamental Rights till Article 19, and today we'll be beginning with Article 20. Article 20 बहुत सिंपल है. Article 20 में तीन चीजें provided है. If you know all these three things, your Article 20 will be very, very easy. These three things are no ex post facto law, no double jeopardy, no self-incrimination. Article 20 is very simple. No ex post facto law, no double jeopardy, no self-incrimination. So let us understand that Article 20 is available for all. It is not only for citizens, it is available for all, and it is a part of right to freedom. It means it is related to the freedom of the people that are living in this country. And when it is about the freedom, it is which kind of freedom? It is the freedom for the people who are convicted for certain offenses. यानी कि ये उनकी फ्रीडम है जिनको गिल्टी पाया गया है एंड दे विल बी सर्विंग अ सेंटेंस, कन्विक्ट कर दिए गए हैं. It is not for accused, it is for convict. So difference समझिए accused और convict में. Accused वो लोग होते हैं जिनके ऊपर किसी चीज का केस चल रहा होता है, and convicted are those who are given a sentence, जिनको finally guilty माना जा चुका है, and these people will be serving a sentence. So this Article 20 is for the protection of the conviction for certain offenses. Is it clear? तो इसमें क्या क्या आपके पास rights provided है? Rights provided है no ex post facto law. It means you can only be convicted for a crime. बहुत अच्छे समझिएगा, that you can only be convicted for a crime that was a crime when you committed it. You can only be convicted for a crime which was a crime when you committed it first. Second thing, that any type of penalty that will be there for that offense can only be put on the convict when the crime had such a penalty. दो चीजें हैं. आपको किसी चीज के लिए सजा तभी मिल सकती है जब आपने वो काम किया हो, तब वो क्राइम भी हो. सेकेंड थिंग, व्हेन यू कमिटेड दैट क्राइम, आपको पनिशमेंट उस टाइम जो पनिशमेंट प्रोवाइडेड करी गई थी वही पनिशमेंट मिलेगी. ये समझ में आया है? अब नाउ आई गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. प्रोहिबिशन ऑफ एल्कोहल इन बिहार. In Bihar, alcohol is prohibited, and it was prohibited very recently in the year 2016. If I am not wrong, it is in 2016. So when it was prohibited in Bihar, if someone was consuming alcohol in Bihar in 2015, at his or her house, then that person cannot be convicted for consumption of alcohol in Bihar. Because when that person was consuming alcohol, at that time consuming alcohol in the domiciliary premises was not an offense. तो ये एक्स पोस्ट फैक्टो लॉ बोलता है कि आपको उस क्राइम के लिए सजा तभी मिलेगी जब आपने वो काम किया हो और वो क्राइम हो. पहली चीज. दूसरी, if you are committing an offense and if the person is committing an offense today and if the penalty for that offense is 2 years and tomorrow the penalty changes and it is for 20 years, so if the crime was committed today, the punishment will only be 2 years. वो कल के हिसाब से नहीं मिलेगी punishment, जिस टाइम crime हुआ है वो तभी मिलेगी. Are we clear with this? Are we clear with no ex post facto law? Now let us understand what is the meaning of double jeopardy. Double jeopardy means a person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same offense not more than once. For one crime there shall only be one punishment. For one crime there shall only be one punishment. ठीक है? Understand? For one crime there will be only one punishment. However, this punishment will only be of the judicial nature. If there is an administrative punishment and a judicial punishment, then both the punishments will be considered. ऐसा नहीं है कि that will be considered as double jeopardy. Is it clear? हम अपनी क्लास में एग्जांपल देते हैं, आपको भी बताते हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल अ पर्सन वाज प्रैक्टिसिंग डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस. अ पर्सन वाज प्रैक्टिसिंग डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, और उस डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के बाद पहली चीज तो उनके ऊपर केस चला और दूसरी चीज भाइयों ने पिटाई करी. तो भाइयों ने पिटाई करी से ये नहीं बोल सकते पर्सन कि हमारी तो भाइयों ने पिटाई करती तो डबल जेपार्डी हो नहीं सकती, अब आप हमको माफ कर दो. ठीक है? क्योंकि जो भाइयों ने पिटाई करी है वो क्यों करी है? इट इज नॉट अ जुडिशियल एक्शन, इट वाज अ एक्शन एट द पर्सनल लेवल. दो इट इज ऑल्सो अ क्राइम, लेकिन आप उसको डबल जेपार्डी का बहाना देके जो कन्विक्ट है वो अपने आप को माफी प्लीड नहीं कर सकता है. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डबल जेपार्डी. क्लियर. थर्ड है कि नो पर्सन, नो सेल्फ इंक्रिमिनेशन मीन्स दैट नो पर्सन shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. यानी कि if someone is to be convicted or a person is convicted, that person cannot be forced to become a witness against himself or herself. They cannot be forced to give a sentence or give a statement against themselves. That is the meaning of no self-incrimination. However, it does not include any necessary thumb impression, any necessary body check, any necessary blood sample that are to be given. Okay, it is only for the statement, for necessary requirements that has to be provided, and that will not be considered under self incrimination. So article 20 provides us 3 rights: no ex post facto law, no double jeopardy, and no self incrimination. But be very, very clear that it is only for criminal offenses. The protection under article 20 is only for the criminal offenses. For civil offenses, there can be ex post facto law, there can be double jeopardy, there can be self incrimination also. For civil acts, for criminal acts only article 20 will be valid. For example, GST was a civil law, and for civil law the GST was applicable from the back date itself. ये इसीलिए किया गया था because it was not a criminal law. तो ये चीज भी हमें समझनी जरूरी है. I hope now you do not have any doubt in article 20. Now article 21, बहुत आपने सुना होगा, बहुत ही सिंपल चीज बोलता है. Article 21 says that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. यानी कि in India you have the right to live with dignity. In India you have the right to live with dignity, and in India you have the right to have personal liberty. A simple चीज में समझना है कि there are two important terms. One is procedure established by law, and another term is due process of law. In India, which is applicable, procedure established by law or due process of law? In India, what does our constitution provide us? Procedure established by law or due process of law? देखिए बहुत सिंपल इंग्लिश है. क्या लिखा है यहाँ पर? हमने पूछा है what does our constitution provide. ठीक है, हमने क्वेश्चन पूछा है देन इंडिया व्हाट डज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोवाइड, एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने क्या प्रोवाइड किया है? प्रोसीजर एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ. व्हाट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज प्रोवाइडिंग? प्रोसीजर एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ. एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो लिखा है दैट इज द लाइन रिटन ऑन स्टोन, लाइन कार्व्ड ऑन स्टोन. तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज प्रोवाइडेड फॉर प्रोसीजर एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ. दूसरा क्वेश्चन, फ्रॉम वेयर वी हैव टेकन प्रोसीजर एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ? व्हिच कंट्री? प्रोसीजर एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ वी टुक इट फ्रॉम जापान. Procedure established by law we took it from Japan, and due process of law it was taken from United States of America. So procedure established by law is a Japanese concept, and due process of law is a American concept. तो अब दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? इंडिया में ओरिजिनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोवाइडेड प्रोसीजर established by law. Original constitution provided procedure established by law. It means if there is a law, then life and liberty they can be taken only when that law is followed in letter. That law is followed in letter and spirit. जो law बन गया है, आपकी life and liberty सिर्फ इस law के हिसाब से ली जा सकती है. Otherwise, you will have the right to live with dignity. However, due process of law also provides you the opportunity to ask this question that why this law was made. I'm repeating it again. Procedure established by law gives only the restriction on your life if the law says that in these conditions your life and liberty can be restricted. Due process of law also provides you this right that why there is such a law which is restricting your life and liberty. This is the difference between the two. It means procedure established by law only undertakes the execution of the law. Due process of law also undertakes the execution as well as the legislation. ये law बना है तो law के through ही आपकी power ली जा सकती है. Due process of law में you can also ask this question कि why this law is made. So which is more broad or which is broader? Procedure established by law or due process of law? Which is broader? Procedure established by law or due process of law? Because there have been a question that due process of law is broader than procedure established by law. There is a question. Very good. So it is due process of law which is broader. Is it clear? So originally the constitution provided that according only through the procedure established by law your life and liberty can be taken. However, in the year 1978 Menaka Gandhi versus Union of India case, they were asked that why only the procedure established by law should be considered and why not due process of law. And that is why in the Menaka Gandhi case, the Supreme Court established that in India, you can not only ask the execution of the law, but you also ask the rationale behind the formation of that law. That is how in India, we adopted the US concept. We adopted the US concept of interpreting the law. And that is why in India, both exist, due process of law as well as procedure established by law. However, in the constitution, it is only procedure established by law that is mentioned. So due process of law is not mentioned in the constitution, and it is only there through the judicial interpretation of the constitution. Understood? I hope you do not have any doubt in article 21. और article 21 सब कुछ आता है. Your right to eat, your right to sleep, your right to privacy, ठीक है? Your right to privacy also comes under article 21. Article 21 के अंदर आपकी right to privacy भी आता है. अब right to access internet, it is a fundamental right under article. Options are 14, 15, 19, 21. Right to access internet. Right to access internet is a fundamental right under article 14, 15, 19 and 21. Give me your answers. Right to access internet, is it your freedom or your right to live with dignity? Tell me. About very simple question, that it is your freedom or it is right to live with dignity. It is freedom. And which is right to freedom, which provide you freedom of speech and expression? Article 19. So there was a confusion where the Kerala High Court said that right to access internet is under article 21, but Supreme Court has established the right to access internet is the right to freedom of speech and expression, article 19. Why the Supreme Court did so? That article 21 की जगह article 19 में put किया गया right to access internet. ये हमारा question है. बताइए, why did Supreme Court made it a narrow right from all to only citizens? Why the Supreme Court had made it and a right under article 19 and not under article 21? बताइए. देखिए, पॉलिटी में हम आपको ऐसे कंसेप्ट्स बताएंगे कि आपको पॉलिटी सब्जेक्ट से प्यार हो जाएगा. अगर आर्टिकल 21 के लिए होता तो यानी कि द स्टेट विल हैव रिस्पांसिबिलिटी टू प्रोवाइड इंटरनेट फॉर ऑल. The state will have responsibility to provide internet for all, and if it is having a responsibility to provide internet for all, तो क्या state के पास additional burden नहीं हो जाता? तो in order to provide the rationale and in order to provide reasonable avenues for the state, Supreme Court ने provide किया that it should only be limited to the citizens. First we'll provide it to the citizens, then we can provide it to all, because providing internet is an expensive thing. It is an expensive thing, and our responsibility is first towards our citizens, and then it will come towards the aliens. Okay? And also providing the right to access internet may sometimes threaten with our sovereignty, may sometimes threaten our security also. इसलिए Supreme Court ने इसको Article 19 के अंदर provide किया rather than Article 21. I hope this is clear to you. I hope Article 21 is clear to you from all the aspects. Similarly, right to privacy is also fundamental right under Article 21. Okay, it is also under article 21. Any doubts if you have from article 21, please ask. Putting someone off ventilator or euthanasia comes under this article. देखिए, euthanasia is right to die with dignity. ठीक है, right to die with dignity. इंडिया में active euthanasia allowed नहीं है, इंडिया में passive euthanasia allowed है. इंडिया पैसिव यूथनेशिया अलाउड है, हाउएवर इट इज ओनली ऑन केस टू केस बेसिस. पहली चीज. दूसरी, वो पैसिव यूथनेशिया तभी अलाउड है जब आप या कोई भी इफ दैट पर्सन हैज गिवन अ लिविंग विल का कंसेप्ट है. थर्ड चीज, दैट दिस डिसीजन कैन नॉट ओनली बी टेकन बाय द नेक्स्ट ऑफ किन, दिस डिसीजन विल बी टेकन बाय द नेक्स्ट ऑफ किन प्लस डॉक्टर्स प्लस द जुडिशियल ऑफिसर्स. ठीक है, तो ये 3 जो है डिसीजन ले सकते हैं. These are the conditions, then only there can be passive euthanasia practiced in India. Okay? There can only be condition practiced in euthanasia. आपको बाकी आपको एक डॉक्ट्रिन पे हमने वीडियो बनाई हुई है, एक डॉक्ट्रिन्स पे वीडियो बनाई हुई है जिसमें आई प्रोवाइडेड अबाउट द डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ प्रोग्रेसिव रियलाइजेशन ऑफ राइट्स. गो थ्रू दैट वीडियो अबाउट द डॉक्ट्रिन्स एंड पिटिशंस, तो आपको और क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी व्हाट इज देयर वी मीन बाय प्रोग्रेसिव रियलाइजेशन ऑफ राइट्स. It was established by the Honorable Supreme Court in the Navtej Johar case, in where the article section 377 of IPC it was decriminalized. तब एक right doctrine established हुई थी, progressive realization of rights. It means rights can only be broadened in future. They can never be limited or they can never be narrowed. So go through that video also. That will be providing you better insights. Now we'll go to Article 21A. Article 21A, it was not in the original constitution. It was not in the original constitution. को कैसे पता लगा? क्योंकि original में होता it could have been Article 22. If it was in the original constitution, it would have been Article 22. So it means पहला question क्या है? That through which amendment act Article 21A was added. So whenever we find an article which is not part of the original constitution, so the first thing we should keep in mind that if it was added, then it was which constitutional amendment. ये question आ चुका है UPSC में. This question has been asked a number of times that through which article it was, through which amendment it was added. So it was 86 Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. Now what does it say? The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age group of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may by law determine. अब इसमें क्या क्या चीजें हमको समझ में आई? इज इट अवेलेबल फॉर सिटीजन्स और फॉर ऑल? इट इज अवेलेबल फॉर सिटीजन्स और फॉर ऑल? फर्स्ट थिंग बताइए किस किस के लिए है? इसका आंसर बहुत सिंपल है, इट इज फॉर ऑल. even though it is written here it is for all children, but as it is not under 15, 16, 19, 29, 30, we already know about it. Who has the responsibility to provide education? It is very clearly mentioned that is the state that has the responsibility. Now is it a self-executory right or it has to be executed? Article 21A, is it a self-executory right or it has to be executed? तो इसके लिए अभी हमने आपको बताई एक चीज, ठीक है. Why? Because लिखा है that in such a manner as the state may by law determine. So the constitution has not provided for the execution of 21A and they have given this responsibility of execution to the state. And how state will determine? How state will determine it? They have determined it through Right to Education Act 2009. So it means it was made as a fundamental right in 2002 through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act, and through Right to Education Act 2009 it was made an executed right where the state passed an act, that is RTE Act 2009. This is what you need to understand under Article 21A. Now 86th Amendment Act not only added Article 21A, it also changed the subject matter of Article 45, where Article 45 was to provide right to education. Now Article 45 is providing early childhood care and education. Article 45 is providing early childhood care and education, where the children between the age group of 0 to 6 will be provided early childhood care. At the same time, it added one more fundamental duty, the 11th fundamental duty, where it will be the responsibility of the guardian or the parents to send their ward to schools. तो 86 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट ने 3 चीजें चेंज की थी. 21A was added, 45 सब्जेक्ट, आर्टिकल 45 सब्जेक्ट मैटर was changed, and आर्टिकल 51A के they were added. ये 3 चीजें add हुई 86 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट के थ्रू. In this class we will only do till article 21A, and in the next class we will continue with the other fundamental rights. If you have any doubts you can ask your doubts, and if you like our content, if you like our channel, please do subscribe us on YouTube, and you can follow us on the given platforms, that is Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and Quora. We are available for you 24/7, and we are providing whatever help we can provide to shape your future in the UPSC preparation. Okay, so thank you very much, and we'll continue with the next class.